The night before my wedding, Chloe Bennett, my fiancé's honorary younger sister, snuck into my place and put on my wedding dress without permission. She stared at the torn seam across the bodice, her face painted with feigned innocence. Oops, your dress is way too small. Guess it's just my curves. When I demanded she pay for the damage, my boyfriend sighed, clearly annoyed. It was just a try-on. How was she supposed to know it would rip? It's just a dress. Just drop it. For my sake. Don't make a scene. But this wasn't just any dress. It was a borrowed, globally limited edition gown worth well over $1 million. I slipped off my engagement ring and tossed it at him. Then maybe you should let her try being your bride. 2. As of right now, you're not my fiancé or your defendant. The wedding's off. Jordan, my best friend, and I had just walked through the door, arms loaded with bags, when we heard voices inside. Effie, do I look pretty in this dress? A cool, male voice replied softly. You do. The woman's voice was sickly sweet, strained to the point of cracking. Am I prettier? Or is your girlfriend prettier? Jordan, who had a notoriously short fuse, immediately rolled up her sleeves to storm in. I clamped a hand over her mouth, set down the late-night takeout and snacks we bought, and crept quietly into the living room. There, in the middle of the room, stood Ethan's honorary sister, wearing my wedding dress. She lifted the skirt slightly, tilting her head playfully as she looked at Ethan. That dress had been carefully locked away in my closet. Now it was on her, for no good reason. Ethan hesitated for a beat, then studied her intently. He was so focused, so absorbed, that he didn't notice Jordan and me standing silently by the entryway. To be fair, Chloe was pretty. She had bold, striking features and a curvy figure. But this dress, with its flowing skirt and ethereal, delicate design, was made for a slighter, more graceful build. Ethan's gaze lingered on Chloe's exposed chest for a long, unblinking moment. You have a better figure than her. You look better, Chloe preened, twirling in the skirt. Right, I think so, too. Ah, you scared me. Mid-spin, she spotted Jordan and me, our faces dark with rage. She stumbled, reaching out to steady herself against the wall. And with that movement, we all heard a sharp, tearing rip. The stitching along the bodice of the dress had split wide open. My blood ran cold. Chloe Bennett, take that off right now. Chloe didn't even look guilty. She just glared at me, huffing. Geez, why are you yelling? You're freaking me out. She turned back to Ethan, her voice dropping into a childish whine. Effie, your girlfriend is being so mean. It's just a dress. Why is she so mad about me trying it on? I'm a guest. Remember, I was even going to bring you a big cash wedding gift tomorrow. Ethan finally snapped out of it, greeting me with an awkward smile. You're back. You didn't text or anything. Jordan was seething. What? We need an invitation to come into our own house now. What? Were you two doing something you shouldn't be? Actually, no. People with your level of shamelessness wouldn't care if you did it in broad daylight. Her sharp, biting retort made Chloe's eyes well up with tears. She trembled with rage, pointing a finger straight at Jordan's face. You're lying. I just heard Clara's dress was so pretty, so I asked Ethan to let me try it on. What girl doesn't dream of wearing a wedding dress? Just because my family's poor, I don't even get to try one on. Yeah, you're some rich trust fund heiress who had everything handed to her. I had nothing. I had to work for everything I have. She got more and more heated, gesturing wildly as she spoke. You have no idea how hard my life has been. Boo-hoo. Now I'm a terrible person just for trying on a wedding dress. Chloe had gotten her nails done that day, covered in elaborate rhinestones and chain charms. As she waved her hands around, the charms caught on the skirt of the dress, snagging it in multiple places and pulling threads loose. I felt dizzy with rage, my mind going blank. Jordan was a trust fund heiress who loved wedding dresses so much she'd opened her own bridal shop. This vintage gown was her crown jewel, bought it at an auction in France. She never would have let anyone borrow it if it weren't for my wedding. Every stitch had been sewn by hand by the finest Italian designers. There was only one like it in the entire world. And now, the bodice was torn open, and the skirt was snagged and frayed in half a dozen places. The most beautiful things are always the most fragile. And this dress was ruined. I remember Jordan saying she'd paid 1.5 million euros for a twirl, over $1 million. Enough, Ethan said coldly, stepping over to Chloe and patting her shoulder soothingly. Stop crying. They're the ones in the wrong. I'll make them apologize to you. He turned to me, his face dark. Clara Evans, is this how you treat my sister? It's just a dress. Chloe's young. Can't you cut her some slack? I just stared at him, numb. Suddenly, none of it mattered anymore. It was always the same line. Chloe's young. Cut her some slack. Ethan and I had met in college, then ended up at the same company after graduation. We'd gone from classmates to coworkers, and now we were supposed to walk down the aisle together. Everyone called us the perfect couple. Ethan was great on paper. He came from a modest background, but he was hardworking and ambitious. He was handsome, and he'd always been good to me. The only problem was his honorary younger sister, for years his junior. The Carter and Bennett families had formally recognized each other as chosen family years ago. Back in high school, Ethan had gone swimming at a reservoir with friends and gotten a cramp, started drowning. Chloe's dad had saved him. He'd pushed Ethan to shore, but then he'd exhausted himself and slipped under the water. They never brought him back alive. After that, the two families grew close. The Carters raised Chloe like their own daughter, paid for her schooling, got her a job. When we started dating, Chloe was still in high school. Ethan doted on her more than he would a real sister. He bought her phones, clothes, makeup, sent her gifts all the time. We even had to bring her along on our dates half the time. And Chloe had this weird, possessive streak when it came to Ethan. She'd been hostile to me from the very first time we met. She'd looked at me all done up for our date, then reached out and plucked my double eyelid tape right off. Clara, there's something on your eyelid. Before I could say anything, she'd feigned panic. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had to fake your eye shape. Wait, do you wear fake hair, too? Like those makeup videos and like super padded bras. She'd glanced down at my chest with a nasty little smirk. Wait, even with padding, you're still smaller than me. Ethan had gotten mad then, yelled at Chloe for it. She'd cried, of course, and in the end, Ethan had been the one to apologize. He'd promised her a new bag, the latest tablet, anything to make it up to her. We'd fought about Chloe 100 times. Every time we fought, Ethan would play the pity card. He'd bury his face in my shoulder, his voice small and pleading. Clara, if it weren't for Chloe's dad, I'd be dead. If it weren't for saving me, she wouldn't have grown up without a father. I owe them my life. Please, just let it go for me. Ethan was my first love, so I'd caved again and again. And every time Chloe pushed further, got bolder, took more and more. Jordan had yelled at me 100 times for it, frustrated beyond belief. Ethan owes the Bennetts a life debt, not you. That girl is walking all over you, and you just keep taking it. People would think you're the one paying off his debt, not him. Just like this wedding. It was supposed to be mine and Ethan's day, but Chloe had been more involved than either of us. I'd wanted a traditional vintage wedding, but she'd hated the idea, talked Ethan into a modern Western one instead. Ugh, those old-fashioned dresses are so creepy. They look like something out of a horror movie. It wasn't just the wedding. Even the house Ethan's parents had let her call the shots on that. To Mr. and Mrs. Carter, this place is close to my work. I can pop over for dinner all the time, and if I'm tired after work, I can just crash here. No need to commute all the way home. The house had been paid for in full by Ethan before we got engaged. In his name only. I'd never felt right saying anything about it. I'd never even told Jordan half of the stuff. I knew it had make her furious. Tonight, she'd insisted on seeing the new house, so I'd brought her over. Try on my ass. Jordan snarled, snapping me out of my memories. She thought I was too stunned to speak, and she was about to blow a gasket. If you love trying on wedding dresses so much, why don't you try on your honorary moms? Marry your honorary dad. Be Ethan's stepmom. Spare me the poor little me act. Plenty of people grow up poor with dignity, or just trashy and proud of it. Who do you think you are wearing a dress from my shop? You're a frog in a plastic bag trying to pass for a swan. Take it off now. Chloe actually cried this time. Real ugly tears. Fine, I won't try it on. Big deal. She huffed and turned to go change in the guest room. But 2 steps in, she glanced back at me with a taunting glint in her eye. Then she deliberately twisted her foot and stepped right on the hem of the skirt. Rip. The skirt tore clean up the middle, turning the floor-length gown into a ragged mini dress. Oops, I didn't mean to. Effie, what am I going to do? She clutched the bodice to her chest, blinking up at him with wide, innocent eyes. Jordan lunged for her, but I grabbed her and held her back. Don't. She'll just claim you attacked her and sue. Jordan was practically vibrating with rage. Let her sue. I've got more money than she'll ever see. I'll beat her within an inch of her life and pay for her damn casket. Ethan immediately stepped between us, shielding Chloe behind him. He frowned down at me, his voice cold and dismissive. Clara, control your friend. This is my house. I'm not going to let some stranger come in here and bully my sister. Chloe perked right back up triumphant. She changed into pajamas in the guest room and sauntered back out, hips swaying. Effie, I'm going to sleep here tonight. Hee hee. I'll warm up the new place for you guys. Ethan's tone was the same fond exasperation it always was. You little troublemaker. This is always going to be your room. Stay as long as you want. Just not tomorrow night. Okay. Jordan stared at him, dumbfounded. One revelation after another was hitting her, and she couldn't process it. I just stared through the half-open bedroom door at the wedding dress crumpled on the floor where Chloe had tossed it like trash. That expensive, beautiful dress. Every time I visited Jordan's shop, I'd stand and stare at it through its glass case for ages. For any ordinary girl, it was like the most perfect, lavish dream. When Jordan offered to let me wear it, I'd been too scared to even touch it, terrified I'd damage it somehow. And now, this perfect work of art was heaped on the floor like garbage. Ruined. It belonged on a display pedestal, glowing under the lights. This was all my fault. That dress was like Jordan in a way. She was born into privilege, had everything, and because she was my friend, she had to put up with people like Chloe. $1 million dress-selling Chloe, an entire Carter family, wouldn't cover the cost. Jordan loved that dress more than anything, but she probably wouldn't even make them pay for it, just to spare me the trouble. But why should she have to? I was the idiot who fell for Ethan. Why should my best friend have to suffer for my mistake? Something inside me snapped. I lunged forward, grabbed Chloe by the hair, and slapped her across the face again and again. You're going to pay for my dress. Chloe was stunned, then started screaming at the top of her lungs. Help! She's attacking me! Help! Ethan stared, wide-eyed and shocked. When he snapped out of it, he ran over to pull me off her. But Chloe and I had years of bad blood between us. A few slaps weren't nearly enough to get it out of my system. When he saw I wasn't stopping, Ethan snapped. He reared back and slapped me hard across the face. Clara, get a hold of yourself. He worked out regularly, tall and strong. In his anger, he'd put his full strength behind it. I went flying backward, slamming my head straight into the marble coffee table. A lump swelled up on my forehead instantly. My vision swam. My ears rang. I felt dizzy, nauseous, like I was going up. Jordan lost it completely. She yelled and jumped right onto Ethan's back, yanking his hair and hitting him as hard as she could. You don't hit a woman. I'll beat out of you, you deadbeat pretty boy. If you love your little sister so much, marry her. Why are you ruining my best friend's life? You two are into that weird pseudo-sibling fetish thing, and you dragged her into it. You hit her. I'll kill you for that. I lay on the floor watching her ride his back like a pro, and for a second, I almost forgot the pain. That's my best friend. Even fights like a badass. Ethan flailed, trying to shield his head, then grabbed Jordan's arm and threw her onto the couch. That's enough. Jordan, don't think I won't hit a woman right back. They stared each other down, both furious. Then Ethan glanced over and saw me lying on the floor, pale as a ghost, and he panicked. Clara, are you okay? Jordan jumped off the couch and knelt beside me, too scared to touch me, her eyes wet. Clara, talk to me. How bad is it? Chloe had been stunned by my attack, about to start crying when Jordan and Ethan started fighting. She just stood there, brain short-circuiting. Now, seeing everyone crowd around me. She sniffled and burst into loud, dramatic sobs. Boo-hoo. It hurts. My head hurts. My ears hurt. Effie, I think she gave me a concussion. I feel so sick. Ethan immediately left my side and ran over to her, gathering her into his arms. Frantic. Chloe, don't scare me. Come on. I'll take you to the hospital right now. I lay there for a minute. Then the nausea faded a little. I grabbed Jordan's arm and sat up slowly. Wait, before you go to the hospital, we need calling the police. Ethan looked relieved I could talk, then frowned again. Call the police. You hit her first. You don't get to play the victim. Chloe burrowed into his chest, crying prettily. Effie, it's okay. I won't call the cops. I don't want you to be embarrassed. But she has to apologize. She has to write me a formal apology. And she has to pay me. Yeah, she has to give me that Mercedes her parents got her as a wedding gift. Then I'll forgive her. Ethan huffed a laugh. Don't be silly. That's a gift from her parents. I can't just give it to you, but you can borrow it for a while. Okay. Chloe threw a fit, writhing in his arms like a spoiled toddler. No, I want the car. Look how bad she hurt me. I read online that one slap is worth $10,000. She slapped me at least 6 times. That car's only like 50 grand. I'm the one getting ripped off here. I ignored them both, squeezing Jordan's hand. Call the police. She has to pay for the dress. I'm not marrying him. I was an idiot. I was blind this whole time. Jordan's eyes lit up like the 4th of July. Wait, are you serious? You're really calling it off. You're finally getting out of this nightmare and dumping his ass. I nodded. I slipped off my engagement ring and threw it right at Ethan. That's right. It's over. Ethan, we're done. The ring weighed barely a few grams, but Ethan looked like he'd been hit by a truck. All the color drained from his face. He fumbled to pick it up, his mouth working silently for a second before he found his voice, rough and shaky. Clara, do you know what you're saying? Of course I did. Ethan was like a perfect, delicious chocolate candy, and Chloe was the rotten filling in the middle. He would never, ever get rid of her. Chocolate with rotten in it. No matter how sweet it is, it still leaves a bitter taste. That's what our 7 years had been. Chloe had been more manageable in high school, busy with schoolwork. But then she'd deliberately chosen the college closest to Ethan. Ethan's parents lived out in the suburbs. After graduation, he'd rented a 2-bedroom apartment near work. Every weekend, every holiday, Chloe would show up with her suitcase. They'd act like a married couple grocery shopping, cooking together, curled up on the couch, watching movies, binging shows, eating snacks. Ethan had even kept a whole bedroom just for her. Her clothes hung in the closet. The apartment only had 1 bathroom, and it was full of Chloe stuff. When I went over to see him, I always felt like the other woman, crashing their little domestic life. And I didn't even have the right to be jealous. Ethan said he'd watched her grow up. To him, she was just his little sister. A brother takes care of his sister. It's that simple. If he turned his back on her, how could he face her dead father? I'd never had an answer for that. He owed them a life debt. Fine, let him spend the rest of his life paying it back. I didn't owe the Bennetts anything, and I wasn't going to spend my life paying it with him. Effie, don't look so scared. Please, I know how women work. Clara's just manipulating you. She knows she's in the wrong, so she's threatening to break up to get out of trouble. Don't fall for it. Think about it. Invitations are already sent. The venue's booked for dozens of tables. She can't just call it off. Ethan looked uncertain. Clara's not the type to use breakups as a threat. We've been together 7 years. She's never once said it. Chloe scoffed. She's so lucky to be with you. She's punching way above her weight. Do you really think she'd walk away? This whole punching above her weight thing came down to Ethan being a local with permanent city residency. His dad was a teacher. His mom worked in the public sector. My parents were small business owners from a small rural town. Even though our family had more money, the Carters always acted like we were lucky to marry into their family. I remembered what Ethan's mom had said once. Oh, running a business. That's for people who can't get a real job. Someone making 100 grand a year in business is nothing compared to someone with a steady public sector job. Mrs. Carter thought she was hot stuff. a big city local. She didn't go in for that old-fashioned groom's contribution stuff. No wedding investment from them, but the bride's premarital assets, non-negotiable. Even the wedding reception costs were split down the middle, each side paid for their own guests. My mom had been furious at first, then talked herself down. Fine, we'll get her a nice car as a gift. She can drive it. We don't want their house. We'll buy her a place. 2. Paid in full. As long as she's happy. Nothing else matters. Thinking about my parents, who loved me so much, made my chest ache. Calling off the wedding fee'd be the laughing stock of every friend and relative we had. This was my mistake, but they'd have to deal with the fallout. I bit my lip, tears spilling over. Seeing me cry, Ethan thought I was backing down. He frowned, his voice cold. Clara Evans, don't you ever use a breakup to threaten me again. You know I hate that. Now, go apologize to Chloe. Right now. Jordan started to get up again. Fine. I'll stab her and apologize with a funeral wreath. She wants a car. I'll burn her a whole fleet of them. 10.20 enough to drive from hell to heaven and back. Just as things were about to explode again, the front door swung open. Ethan's parents walked in. One look at the scene and Mrs. Carter's face fell. Oh my God, Ethan, Chloe, what happened to your faces? Chloe immediately ran, crying into her arms. Boo-hoo, Mrs. Carter, Clara hit us. She got so mad just because I tried on her dress. After Chloe's rambling, tearful retelling, Mr. and Mrs. Carter looked furious. Mrs. Carter clenched her fists, taking a deep breath. Clara, this is unacceptable. You hate your fiancé and his sister just because she tried on your dress. We're settling this tonight, one way or another. Mr. Carter, a stern, grim man, kicked the shoe rack hard enough to rattle it. Ethan Carter, are you even a man? Letting a woman walk all over you like this. She hasn't even married you yet, and she's hitting you. What happens after? She'll hit us. 2. Go on. Hit her back. Teach her a lesson. Ethan looked uncomfortable, then gestured to my face. My red cheek. My split lip. The swelling on my forehead. I already did. Dad, I put her in her place. Mr. Carter's expression softened. Good. That's my boy. Jordan rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. Well, look what crawled out of the 1800s. You old fart. You kiss your boss's ass all day at work, and then you come home and act like a big man. Mr. Carter glowered, but Mrs. Carter grabbed his arm. She gave me a disgusted look, pointedly ignoring Jordan. Trash from the country sticks together. No class at all. We're not wasting our breath on people like you. Clara, this is all your fault. If you want to marry into this family, you're going to make this right. Here's what's going to happen. You sign that apartment of yours over to Ethan and that Mercedes. It goes to Chloe. Do that, and we'll forget this ever happened. Birds of a feather. No wonder Chloe and Mrs. Carter got along like real mother and daughter. They had the exact same mindset. They'd call our family tacky, new money, but they'd stare at our stuff with envy the whole time. Forget it. A loud voice boomed from the doorway. You hit my daughter, and you think you're just going to walk away. The door slammed open. My parents walked in, followed by a whole crowd of people. One look at them, and my eyes burned with tears. Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry. My mom shot me a sharp look. Useless girl. You just cry when people bully you. Crying isn't going to make these people go away. What do you do when someone picks on you? I taught you this. Watch. She marched straight into the room as she spoke. By the time she finished talking, she'd already slapped Mrs. Carter across the face and kicked Chloe right to the floor. She kicked Chloe repeatedly while slapping Mrs. Carter back and forth, moving so fast it was a blur. I'd never seen my mom fight before. Jordan was cheering so loud she was practically screaming. Yes, Auntie, you're my hero. Ethan and his dad lunged forward, but before they could reach her, the rest of the crowd moved in. Jordan had called them. She yelled out, hit them hard. You all know the misdemeanor assault with no injuries that leave marks. Just make it hurt. I found out later these were professional enforcers Jordan kept on retainer, trained to hit soft tissue. Avoid all vital spots. Leave it to a rich girl to have people for this. The room erupted in shouts and cries of pain. Stop. Everyone stop right now. Right in the middle of the chaos, several police officers walked in. Jordan ran straight for them. Officer, I'm turning myself in. I hit people. Then she yelled over her shoulder at one of the men in black. Hey, that old guy is getting up. Hit him again with your shoe. He likes it. She turned back to the cops, blinking her big doe eyes innocently. Sorry, officer. I did it again. Hitting people is wrong. I'm turning myself in again. The cops just stared dumbfounded. Once they finally got everyone to stop, another crowd came bursting through the door. Get 'em. Beat the hell out of these Carter losers. My eyes went wide. Grandma, Nana, what are you doing here? It wasn't just them. My uncles, aunts, cousins, great uncles. Oh, right. They'd all come into the city for the wedding. My parents had booked a whole hotel block for everyone. Jordan looked a little sheepish. I sent a picture to the family WhatsApp group. Said you've been hit by the groom. Told everyone to hurry over. Of course, as in my family group chat. Mrs. Carter huddled in the corner behind the cops, crying and making phone calls. You think you're the only ones with family. I've got family, too. Hello, Auntie. I got beat up. What? What do you mean I deserved it? No wonder your daughter only got into community college. Hello, brother. I got attacked. You're out of town. What kind of business trip for a fishmonger? You sell freshwater fish. What sea are you going to be out on? By the time she hung up, everyone was looking at her with a mix of pity and secondhand embarrassment. It was kind of sad. She couldn't even round up a crew for a fight. There were so many people that the 4 or 5 police cars couldn't take everyone in. Jordan waved a hand dismissively. Officers, don't worry. We're not going to run. We've got cars. We'll follow you down to the precinct. So, the whole caravan drove down to the police precinct. No one slept that night. The ruling came down pretty quickly, since both sides had thrown punches, and it was a family dispute. No one was getting locked up. Rumor was they were worried if they put everyone in jail, they'd just start fighting again inside. On the civil side, everyone would have to pay their own medical bills and missed work costs. Neither side would settle, so they'd have to lawyer up and take it to court. By the time I finished my statement and walked outside, the sky was starting to lighten. Ethan walked over to me, both eyes blackened. Happy now. Clara, you got what you wanted. The wedding's going to have to be rescheduled. How do you plan on fixing this? I stared at him, stunned. Ethan, you don't actually think we're still getting married after all this, do you? He blinked, thrown off. Why wouldn't we be? Chloe accidentally ruined your dress, and you hit her. I hit you by accident, and I got beat up, too. We're even. It's in the past. Why wouldn't we get married? Jordan tugged my arm, nervous. Oh, did we hit him too hard? Brain damage. I huffed a bitter laugh. Relax. His brain's always been like this. After 7 years together, I knew Ethan better than anyone. He really, truly had never considered breaking up with me. We worked in the same department. Great partners on the job, off the clock. Aside from the Chloe thing, we got along fine. Ethan had told me more than once that I wasn't just his girlfriend. I was his soulmate. He loved our relationship because he was never the one who had to suffer. Clara, tell me, why are you calling off the wedding? It can't be because of Chloe, can it? He got more and more agitated as he spoke. I've told you 1,000,000 times. Chloe's my sister. She's just my little sister. A wave of exhaustion washed over me. I looked him dead in the eye. Yes, Ethan, it's because of Chloe. She makes me sick. Just looking at her makes me want to throw up. And since you're her brother, you make me sick, too. Got it. You want to get married. Fine. Cut Chloe out of your life right now. Block her number. Never talk to her again. Act like you don't know her. Can you do that? Ethan, can you actually let her walk out of your life forever? Ethan stumbled back a step, clutching his head like he was in pain. Clara, you know I love you. Why are you doing this to me? Her dad saved my life. I can't just abandon her. I owe them forever. I was done. Completely done. What does that have to do with me? Ethan looked shocked. How can you say that? You're my wife. If my family owes a debt, you owe it, too. You're supposed to help me pay them back. That was Ethan's logic in a nutshell. He saw his wife as an extension of himself. It never occurred to him that she didn't have any obligation to his debts. Legally, a spouse didn't even have to take care of their in-laws, let alone some honorary sister. His life debt was his to pay, not mine. Must suck to be your wife. Then, I turned away, done with the conversation. Ethan stepped in front of me, his eyes desperate, but hopeful. Don't leave. Clara, I never wanted to marry anyone but you. Jordan had had enough. Get out of my way. Too little. Too late. Ethan just stood there, arms out, stubborn and desperate. Clara, don't break up with me. I'll figure something out. I will. I promise. I'll make sure you never have to see her again. I'll handle all her stuff by myself. You won't have to deal with any of it. Okay. I actually laughed. Ethan, on my last birthday, Chloe said she was sick and you spent the whole day with her. I was working late. You promised to bring me takeout and you bailed to go to the movies with her. We were watching a show at my place and she said she was scared after a horror movie and you ran right over to her. How many times has that happened? I don't need a man who drops everything the second another woman calls. Ethan tried to explain, but Chloe came running over crying hysterically. Effie, they said the dress is over $1 million. They want me to pay $1 million. Boo-hoo. Who has $1 million dress? They're scamming me. What am I going to do if I can't pay? They'll ruin my credit. Right. I just graduated college. How am I supposed to get a job with bad credit? I don't want $1 million of debt. I didn't even do anything. Ethan's eyes went wide. $1 million for a dress. He glared at me furious. Clara, that's low. Even for you. I said I'd keep you two apart. And you do this to her. She's just a kid. Jordan's jaw tightened, her temper fraying. Don't make me hit you again, right here in the precinct. I grabbed her arm, holding her back. Forget them. They're too dense to reason with. Ethan, talk to my lawyer about everything. I'm done. I turned and walked away with Jordan, leaving Ethan and Chloe standing there staring after us. My parents handled the wedding cancellation fast. No mess, no drama. The venue was non-refundable since we'd canceled last minute. So, they invited every single relative and friend to the feast anyway. No wedding. Even better, they called it a celebration of me finally coming to my senses and escaping a terrible marriage. All the relatives cheered and congratulated me. The ones who hadn't made it to the precinct the night before were all disappointed they'd missed it. I thought things would calm down, and after that we'd just wait for the court date. I was wrong. A video of Jordan and me hitting them went viral online. It was heavily edited, taken out of context. All you could see was me slapping Chloe over and over, and Jordan beating up Ethan. Chloe was the one who posted it. She played the victim, spinning a wild lie. She claimed she'd caught me cheating the night before the wedding and that I'd attacked her to keep her quiet. She said my best friend had beaten up Ethan when he tried to defend her. She made themselves look like poor, innocent victims. Jordan and I blew up overnight. Jordan was a pretty well-known trust fund heiress with a following on several platforms. Her accounts got flooded with hate comments, thousands and thousands of angry messages. Someone even threw manure at her bridal shop. She had to close temporarily because of it. I reached out to Ethan, someone I hadn't spoken to in days. The video was from your security camera, wasn't it? You have the full footage. Ethan sounded exhausted. Yeah, I have it, but I can't release it. If I do, everyone will hate her. She's young. She can't handle that kind of cyberbullying. I went quiet. After a long moment, I laughed, cold and bitter. Ethan, I should have known. Between me and Chloe, you'll always pick her. I hope you're ready for the consequences of lying and covering for her. On the other end of the line, Chloe's voice piped up, bright and smug. Yeah, I posted it. What are you going to do about it? This is just the start. In a few days, you won't even be able to leave your house without getting jumped. I didn't snap like she wanted me to. Chloe, internet fame cuts both ways. It'll come back to bite you. Ethan thought we couldn't get the full footage. Too bad for him. Money talks. He had no idea the security company kept cloud backups of all their camera feeds. Jordan paid a premium fee. Oh, get the full unedited video. I also released the security footage from my own place. It showed Ethan carrying my wedding dress bag, talking on the phone with Chloe. All right, you little troublemaker. I got it. Yeah, I snuck it out. Clara's really protective of this dress. Hope she doesn't get too mad. We also posted the video of Jordan at the French auction, bidding 1.2 million euros on the vintage gown. When all 3 videos went up on her account, the internet lost its mind. Oh my god, I know that dress. That's the $1 million fairy tale gown. Holy, if someone ruined my $1 million wedding dress the night before my wedding, I'd kill them. No joke. I'd kill their whole family. Wait. This isn't his real sister. It's his honorary sister. Dude stole his fiancée's wedding dress the night before the wedding to let his honorary sister try it on. And she deliberately ripped it. You can't make this up. This is why I have high blood pressure from TikTok. Nobody gets it. The frustration of not being able to slap someone through a screen. That girl ruined a $1 million dress and then posted an edited video to cyberbully the bride. How can someone be that awful? The backlash was way worse this time around. Chloe and Ethan got doxxed, and all their personal information leaked online. Even Chloe's alt account on Twitter got dug up. Ethan got a girlfriend. I'm sad. He's only mine. They say you repay a life debt with marriage. Why won't he marry me? Ethan, I've liked you since I was 12. How do I make her break up with him if the wedding dress breaks? Maybe Ethan won't get married after all. Both Chloe and Ethan got fired from their jobs, and then the court ruling came down. Jordan and I had to pay for the Carters' medical bills and missed work around $8,000 total since we'd thrown the first punches. But Chloe, she had to pay for the dress, and she was going to jail because she'd convinced Ethan to steal the dress from my house. That was burglary. Add in the online defamation. And Chloe got 6 years. Ethan got 5. She still had to pay the $1 million in damages. All her bank accounts were frozen. They'd stay frozen until every last cent was paid back. When Mr. and Mrs. Carter realized their son was not only out of a job, but going to prison, they turned on Chloe completely. The Carter and Bennett families tore each other apart. Bitter enemies from that day forward. Jordan, on the other hand, gained 10 million followers from all this. People flocked to her shop to take photos, to rent dresses, a bridal shop that could afford a $1 million vintage gown. Practically unheard of. That million she lost, she made it back, just in a different way. Before Ethan went to prison, he called me one last time. Clara, my mom says we're cutting off the Bennetts for good. Chloe got me locked up. The life debt, it's paid now. 5 years goes fast. When I get out, I laughed out loud. Ethan, so you only wanted to cut her off when it started hurting you. All that talk about life debt. You just didn't care until it was your life getting ruined. And what makes you think I'd want a man with a criminal record? Take your disgusting love and get out of my life. Forever. Jordan slung an arm around my shoulders. Hell, yeah, that's my girl. Come on, I made bank. I'm taking you somewhere fancy. I smiled up at her. Sounds perfect. I lost a rotten, terrible relationship, but I still had the best friend in the whole world.